I think it's working. Three, two, one. Hey, welcome to AM Coffee. And this is our third time around with this. We had some glitches on Paul's end first time. Then we had glitches on my end this time, the second time, which I think was probably more operator error. But we are third time's a charm, and we are good to go. My special guest today is my good friend Paul Blundell. We've known each other for almost 2 years now. Is that about right?
I
18
think so.
months?
Yeah, about
Yeah.
2 years. Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. And Paul is a broadcaster, a presenter, radio presenter over in the UK, and he's done all kinds of different things. We have actually a lot in common, from our backgrounds to what we enjoy doing to our habits. We've kind of figured out things over the years and how things. We'll talk about all that. But good morning, Paul. How are you?
I'm very well. Nice to speak to you I was going to say for the first time, but we've tried it twice already. But for the first time face to face, even though we've
Yes.
we've emailed so many times over the past 2 years, but it's good to be able to speak to you
I
properly.
think we had 5 emails just yesterday, if I
I
remember
think
right,
so.
4 or 5. But, yeah, things are good. Paul owns a company called radiojingles24.com, and it's, if you work at a radio station or whatever, it's great to check that out. He offers some great packages, some great services. If you, own your online station, if you have a podcast, I mean, he has a lot of products that would be perfect for anybody in that situation. So anyway, you are a broadcaster, presenter, but you didn't start out that way. How did everything kind of get rolling with that?
So it's something I always wanted to do from being a child, but I I went to college, and I started working part time in a supermarket, and I did that for the 2 years that was at college. Then I got offered when I left, when I finished college, I got offered a full time job there, and it was more money than I'd ever seen before. Looking back on it, wasn't a particularly high amount of money, but at the time I thought this sounds like a good idea. I enjoy what I do, so I did it. 16 years later, I was still working there. I'd done various different roles within stores, within warehouse, within head office. Um,
Yeah.
and then I thought, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? I've always had the bug of radio. I've always wanted to work on the radio. I've always enjoyed audio producing and things like that. And I did bits and pieces of that in my spare time while I worked in the supermarket. Um, but then I bit the bullet and decided to let's try and see if we can get on the radio properly.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can forge out a bit of a career in voiceover and in audio production, which is something I'm really passionate about, really love doing. And then I started the company Radio Jingles 24, and that's been going now for about 2 years. So it's a little bit different to what I set out to do initially, working in a shop. A little bit different, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
change what I do now. For the world, it's fantastic. It really is.
It is a lot of fun. I know that going back to your time in a warehouse and everything. I know you were a forklift driver, which is another congruency that you and I both have. You've had some fun times. You've had some accidents. I've had a few
An
myself,
accident.
and yeah. Tell us about that one you were telling me about before.
It's
With
taken me about 10 years to finally forget the accident, but you're bringing it all
so
back,
I'm gonna pick
unfortunately.
the scab off. We're gonna open it back up.
Yes, I had to drop a pallet from the middle racking of the warehouse,
Yeah.
and forklift trucks have got some of them have guards so that are above and go around the forks.
Uh-huh.
I went into the middle racking. The guard at the top knocked out the top racking as I lifted the pallet from the middle racking up,
Uh-huh.
causing the beam that ran along the top just to fall out of the racking and fall down. And subsequently, the pallets that were stacked above also fell down on top of me.
I was
I
gonna say
was
fell
under
towards you. Yeah.
I was under a cage, which was a good thing.
Okay.
Although it was very scary at the time. The two pallets couldn't have been toilet roll or anything like that. No, they had to be
No.
two big full pallets of, well, there was one full pallet of beer and there was a half pallet of wine. So you had huge weight on one
Oh
side
my
and huge
gosh.
cost on the
Yeah.
other side, and it all came crashing down, and it all smashed everywhere. It was like a huge river in the
Oh,
warehouse. It took hours to clear up.
oh my
I mean, the
gosh.
warehouse smelled great. Don't get me wrong;
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fantastic smell, but you know,
I bet
not a good experience.
by the time you got home, you didn't smell all that great, probably.
Well, I'm glad the police didn't pull me over while I was driving home.
Yes.
Put it that way. I don't know. I'd have some explaining to do.
Yeah, yeah. Probably down at the station. "Hon
Absolutely, yeah.
honey, can you come get me?" Yeah, that'd be good. Man, so yeah, I've had some, accidents like that. I've had, and I worked at a brewery, driving into a trailer, you know how sometimes the trailer will drop as you drive in, whether it's the jacking or whatever underneath it, but anyway, it would drop, and I was not as far underneath the pallets as I thought I was, and when it dropped, it kinda made the pallet kinda bounce forward. Each pallet was 2,000 pounds. So they both started leaning forward and, you know, there's nothing you can do. They just both it was luckily, it was cans, and another lucky thing was it was right at the end of my shift, and so I went and told my boss, it's like, you know, "You wanna pay me overtime? I mean, I'll stay. I'll clean it up. It was my mess." He goes, "No, go home. We'll get it." And, of course, the next day, I heard all about it too, so,
Not
well,
Mr. Popular the next morning, no, or the
I was
next day.
certainly not. Thanks for leaving me that mess. Yeah, so it was fun. It's fun. So you finally got in radio, which was fun. I mean, you know, radio is one of those things. I grew up probably similar to you as far as radio was my main form of entertainment. We didn't have, you know, there wasn't a lot, you know, we didn't a lot of money, so we didn't have video games. We didn't have any of that stuff, and video games had really just come out back when I was a kid. But radio was my big entertainment. I listened to as a matter of fact, I was just interviewed for a podcast last week, and they were asking me about how I fell in love with radio, and that was really it. I would sit on my couch as a teenager and try to listen to stations that were far away. And you know, it sounds extremely boring now, but back then it was kind of exciting. So, or it's just the way I'm built, it made it exciting. But so when you got started in radio, how did that start? How did that get going?
Well, it was actually a friend of mine who he worked on the local commercial radio station where I live. I didn't know him. I knew him from the radio, but I didn't know him personally. But my friend said to me, do you want to go and watch him in action in the radio studio?" And as a bit of a radio geek, I jumped at the chance. I
Yeah,
thought, this is going to be
yeah,
exciting.
of
Let's go
course.
down and see what he does. So I went down there speaking to him, watched how he did what he did. Um, and at that it was at that point that my love for it all came back. If that makes sense.
Sure.
So I was a bit like you when I was younger. I used to like trying to pick up radio stations that were far away. I'd do that at home. It's a little bit sad, but I did used to do it.
I know.
I used to do bedroom FM, which I'm sure, don't know
Oh
whether
yeah,
you've done that, but I know a lot of people do. I've
absolutely.
done all that. Sort of forgot about it a little bit when I went into the big bad world of work. But then when I went to go and watch this guy on the local station, it brought it all back, and I thought, this is absolutely something I want to do. So
Yeah.
as soon as I got in, straight on Google, how do I become a DJ? How do I become a
There
radio
you go.
presenter? And got some advice. So I helped out a little bit on some online stations and did bits and pieces like that. Enough for me to get a demo tape together and sent it to every man and his dog. Got a million and one rejection letters,
Of course.
like most people do. I mean, that's part of the course.
Yeah.
And then I luckily I got a hello. Do you want to come in and have a trial run? I thought, a trial run? What's that?
I'll be right
Where
there.
I, yeah, right there. Do an hour in a studio. Doesn't go out, but you pretend that you're on the radio. It's
Sure.
so much fun. I did that for about 4 weeks. I used to go in every week for free. Just go in, pretend I was on the radio. Obviously, I wasn't. Got
Yeah.
a bit of feedback every single time, and then after about a month, I think it was, I got we're going to put you on the radio. And I don't think I've ever been quite as scared in all my life.
Yes.
Um, and that was it. And then I was there for 10 years.
How long did it take you to kind of get over the whole heart beating in the back of your throat, you know, when you turn the mic on? Because that happened to me, man, right at the beginning. It was awful. It was awful.
It's, oh, it's hard to say. I would say at least for the first for the first month or more, even, when I was
Yeah,
actually live,
yeah,
actually on air, at least a month. I mean, I used to, it must have sounded horrific
yeah,
because I'd write every single link down in the most detail. So it would come across as so, robotic, my link, and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
was written down. It takes a while to sort of get used to being able to you'd have an idea of what you wanted to say. You might write a couple of bullet points, but it took a while to become confident enough to be able to just open the mic without prepping every single word that you were going to say.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Th-
it took a while. It took a while.
And that's what, when I worked at a radio station back in '88, and the guy on the AM side, we had an AM and FM. And I went over, and he was a great guy, but he was so good at that. He wouldn't have any notes, wouldn't have anything, and he would crack open the mic and just talk, talk, talk for about, 5 to 10 minutes. And it would
Mm.
just be about the news of the day, or what's going on this weekend or something. I'm like, that was amazing. That is truly a skill, and it's truly
Oh
something
yeah,
that you have to develop. And it's just,
it is.
I'm not there yet.
Uh, Me neither. Me
Yeah,
neither. No,
no.
there's it's few and far in between. I know a couple of people who can do that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm envious on the prep time before the show that is saved. The fact that they
sure.
don't really need to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a skill. That is a
You know,
skill.
on my air check, I actually stole one of his lead-ins to a song. There was a song by, I'm trying to remember who it was, Lionel Richie, I think it was. Anyway, it was called "Stuck on You," and he started out saying, "All right, here we go, A B C D E F G H I J." He get all the way to you, and he was go, "You, what comes after you?" And then the song would lead in and just said "Stuck on You," and I'm like, man, that was just so genius. And it's like, and it just seems so simplistic probably to most people, but it's like I kept that in the back of my head. And when I made my air check, I used it on the radio station I work for now. And it's like, so I pulled that off of there and put it on my air check, my first, yeah. So actually I gave away all my secret that I stole that.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm writing that one down right now for tonight.
It's really good. Go ahead, feel free. I stole it too. But so yeah, are you you're still in radio? I mean, you're still doing a presenting, correct?
Yes, I do a weekday mid-morning show on a local station here,
Mhm.
a local FM station here, and I do a weekday evening show as well on a different radio station. So I'm fairly busy through
I
the
guess
day.
so. I guess so. And I know the radio jingles. I mean, there are some days heck, I think you sent me an email last night at it was 1 o'clock in the morning your time or midnight your time.
And
Maybe
I
that's when I
never
came
never turn
through.
off. Always on. I'm always working. It feels
My
like I'm
goodness.
always working.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little about Radio Jingles 24, how that got started.
I so I kind of guessed that I'd seen a gap in the market really. So I'd worked in radio for maybe 7 or 8 years before I started the company, and I knew how important it was for people who work in radio, whether that be programmers or even presenters, that they want audio, whether it be a jingle doing a feature jingle turning around really quickly, or an
Yeah,
advert that needs to go out. And in the world of radio, you'll know that audio is needed yesterday. There's
yes.
no time to we can't be waiting 3 days a week, whatever. We need
Right.
it as quick as possible. So I thought, well, maybe we could start a website that will provide that service within 24 hours. It's usually quicker, but we say within 24 hours. What else makes things difficult for customers? So I've been on a number of sites that would make the ordering process fairly difficult. So you might have to call somebody to place an order, or you might have to, send an email, or pricing wouldn't be on the website. You'd have to, send a message to get a quote. So let's make it as simple as possible. You can order everything online. We've made it, enter your script. What kind of production do you want? Choose your voice. Here's your price. Really, really straightforward on the website as well. And I've been on a number of websites where there's 100, 200, 300 different voices to choose from, which makes it quite difficult as a customer. I don't want to
Overwhelming.
be listening. Yeah, I don't want to be listening to demos from 100 different people.
Right.
So
Who has
let's
time for
choose
that?
exactly. So can we choose a smaller pool of voiceovers who, you know, are really good at what they do, sound great, going to be able to deliver it quickly. Let's
Mhm.
make it really easy. And that's what I did. And that's kind of where the whole concept of Radio Jingles 24 came from.
Well, that's fantastic. Now it keeps you pretty busy though. I mean, you do 2 radio shows a day, but I mean, yeah, yeah.
It feels like I'm always working, but the thing is, you know, I think you've heard the saying before. You may even told me it. You know, if you find a job you love, you never work another day again in your
Absolutely.
life, really.
Yeah.
And I do love it. The thing is, I guess, because I work with people from the UK and also yourself and a few others from the US, there is always time to, to email somebody, because if I'm emailing somebody in the UK for some work, it's the same time as my time. So
Sure.
I know they're going to reply back. It might be midnight that an order comes through my time
Yeah.
for somebody like yourself in the US, and I know you're probably going to be up and working.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
oh, I better email it to you because I'll then get it back in the morning. So it
That's
feels
right.
like I'm always replying to and sending emails, never switching off. But it is because I absolutely love it.
We had that little round robin thing last night. We were watching Downton Abbey on TV last night when I got the email from you, and it's like, it was like 8 o'clock at night. So, and by the time we were done, I came in here and knocked it out and sent it to you, and I knew you had it this morning. So yeah, I mean, it really works out good having people all around the globe. Or
It, it really does. It really does. Can I say I've never watched Downton Abbey?
oh
And
no,
it's not good. I should have done, but never watched it. I'm
no.
watching back. I'm watching Back to the Future at the minute on Netflix for like the seventh time.
Oh yeah, what a great show that was too. Gosh.
Absolutely love it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting it's from the World War One era of an abbey, a fictitious abbey. But it's pretty interesting. I really didn't think I was going to like it. I normally don't like those melodrama soap opera type shows, but we my wife had been wanting to watch it, so we started, and it's actually pretty good. They do it's one of those things that you're trying to, and for an American, God help me. I mean, I'm just so freaking American. But when they have the really strong accents, sometimes some of the actors are from Ireland, you can tell, or Scotland, and it's like, sometimes they talk so fast, it's kind of hard to understand. We have to back it up a couple of times. It's like, what they say, so. Your accent is much easier to understand, but you know how England is. It's such a small country
Mm.
physically, but it's such a diverse accent group, and it's
It,
incredible.
it's crazy. I mean, there's so I live in Leeds, which is in Yorkshire, which is kind of, I guess, in the middle somewhere.
Yeah,
You could drive 40 miles to the west and you've got Manchester, and that's a completely different accent to us. And then you can go another 40 miles further west and you've got Liverpool, which is a completely different accent as well. So
right, right,
yeah,
right.
there's so many accents. It's
It is
it's it's
incredible
crazy.
for being that close. I mean, we have some accents here, but we've only got maybe I don't know, 6 really distinct accents in the US, but it's like, but that's spread out. I mean, you really got to drive where I'm at. You really have to drive just maybe nuance accent changes between here and Alabama and Mississippi and Arkansas, but really, I mean, you got to drive all the way up to Pennsylvania probably to really hear a different accent from where I'm at. So
Mm.
it's hours and hours to drive. So yeah, that's just incredible to me. I love accents, and that's why it's like, I hear people say, I can do this good English accent. I'm like going, which one? Because I'm sure you could hear it and like going, well, they're trying to do this. It's a mix of this and that. And it's like it's got to sound awful to you. I would think. Uh, but it probably. But I interviewed a lady. I think it was 2 episodes ago. Sarah Kennedy from Brisbane, Australia, and she's done cartoons, and she's done it in an American accent, which American does actually have a accent-free type accent. To where all the or all the television broadcasters and everything, they don't really have a distinct accent. But she did that accent so well in one of her cartoons that she did. I had to tell her, I said, that was fantastic. I would have never known you were Australian. And to me, that's just, I just love it when people can, I love hearing that when people can really, really pull that off, which is, it
Yeah,
can,
I'm envious of people who can do accents because awful at
Yeah,
them. I
yeah.
really am. Never been able to do them.
No, no. I mean, I think I can do a little bit of the, within our country accent, but yeah, I can't do anything foreign. I'm just not too many, not enough brain cells, I guess. I don't know, but so what do you have in the future for Radio Jingles 24? You have anything in the on the horizon?
Well, we've just launched an Italian speaking voice, which is something I wanted to have a go at doing. Not personally, I've got a guy from Italy who's doing that. That would
Okay.
sound awful if I attempted that. I'd had a number of messages in Italian. I can't speak Italian,
Mhm.
but luckily Google Translate comes to the rescue. And it was people wanting jingles recording in Italian. And I've had a fair few of these, so I thought, well, let's test
Ah,
it out a little bit. So I've got a guy called Marco from Italy, who's proving fairly popular. He's been on now 2 weeks, I would say. So that's my next thing I'm going to look at. Really, is what
sure.
other countries potentially could we sort of tap into? So
Yeah.
I have had a couple of queries from Spain. That's another country.
I was just thinking
But
that
yeah,
Spanish speaking countries are everywhere, so that would be
mm,
yeah. That's but they have their own accents too. I mean, we were talking. I was at a Mexican restaurant, had to be about 10 years ago, and the lady who came over and took our order was talking to somebody else, and he asked her, he goes, "Are you from Argentina?" And she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I could tell from your accent." And for some reason, in my head, I never really thought about Argentina or Chile or any of these other countries having their own specific accents, but it does make sense. But I just never really thought that somebody could pick up on an Argentinian accent. I thought that was just
mm,
kind of neat. And if I would imagine within the Spanish language, if you could do the different accents of different countries, just like they can tell the difference between France French and Canada French.
mm.
You have Brazilian Portuguese, and then you got Portugal Portuguese, and everything changes a little bit. So yeah, that would be you got a lot of opportunity, I would imagine.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. And like, say the Marco is proving popular at the minute and it's just one voice as well. So there's the
Yeah,
opportunity as well if he becomes popular to get maybe a female Italian voiceover on
sure.
board as well. So there's plenty of opportunity, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the sung jingles. Now you have somebody who sings your jingles too, right? How
got
does that
a
work?
I've got a couple of people now. So it's on the same premise as ordering a spoken jingle. So you would just go on the website, you would be able to order it online. We still say we'll deliver within 24 hours if you're ordering one Sun jingle. We
Uh-huh.
do packages now, and they take a little bit longer, but maybe 2 days max, really, for
Yeah.
those. And again, just try to make it really, really straightforward to order. There's a fair few websites that will do some bespoke some jingles for you. Generally speaking, you can't order them online. You can't usually see the prices of them. Sometimes you can, but generally speaking, you can't. So I try to make it as easy as possible. We've got a singer from the US, and we've also got a singer from the UK as well, who actually sung the jingles for our national BBC Radio 2 station as
Oh,
well. So
really?
yeah, she did. She did. So we're really glad to have her on board as well. So yeah, again, just trying to make things as simple as
It's
possible for people.
It's a one-stop shop. I mean, that's really great. As a matter of fact, in full disclaimer, my intro is from Radio Jingles 24. Her name is Joe Lloyd. She's fantastic, and yeah, I mean, I couldn't think of a better company to work with too. I mean, like you said, Paul, you've got a lot of good people working around you. You actually you're very timely on everything you do. I enjoy working with you. As a matter of fact, it reminded me that you and I did a commercial together, and it actually aired in Thailand probably within 24 hours of when you got the order. So you send it to me, I recorded my part, and then I sent it back to you, and you did your part, put it together, put put your magical dust on it, and sent it over to Thailand, and I'm sure it was on the air. To me, that's just, the internet still blows my mind. I'm just old enough to where I'm still fascinated at technology. So
It is. It's amazing when you think about it. The order came through to the UK, over to America, back to the UK, over to Thailand, and on the air within 24 hours. It is
it
phenomenal when you
it
think about it. Yeah.
really is. I love it. I love it. So, we want to throw this in. You're helping your wife do a company also. You're starting a company with her, and we might as well promote that while we're here. She's writing CVs for people. Is that
That's
kind of
true.
the?
Yeah. So she's a writer by trade. She has worked in employment and HR and places like that before. And what she's doing is she will take your CV and she will rewrite it. So she's got loads. I mean, she should be explaining this rather than me because you know I just sit in a cupboard talking to myself all day.
What
But yeah. So,
got a website?
but I know there's something called the ATS system, I believe, which is something like the applicant tracking system. So if you apply for a job, don't know whether it's just a UK thing or it's a worldwide thing. I've got no
Yeah, I don't
idea.
know.
But your CV will be run through this system, and it will say that's rubbish without anybody even looking at it first. Sort of
Yeah,
picks up on keywords, I believe. I might be wrong, but I think that's true.
yeah.
And she can write ATS compliant CVs, and that's what she'll do for you. And so just take your CV, rewrite it, make it really nice. So these applicant tracking systems will think, oh, that's a good CV, and somebody will actually read it then. But not only that, she also will, as part of the service, will apply for roles for you as well within the area that you live. So you fill out a questionnaire and say, right, this is the kind of role that I want. This is the area that I would like to apply for. And she'll go out and do the legwork, apply for roles, send a summary of all the jobs that have been applied for, a bit of a sort of a couple of paragraphs around the company and what they are, to help you out if you get an interview and stuff. So that's what the whole website's about. And it's
Okay.
called employmentspy.com.
Employmentspy.com. Beautiful. I got thinking about that. I wonder what words get kicked out that make it to where it doesn't get read. That's interesting.
She probably knows, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's, no,
I pick up on the
I've no
weirdest
idea.
things, but I just thinking about that. It's like, if it's a word that doesn't exist, or it's a word that, because here in America we are just so full of anecdotal words that don't they don't mean anything, and so interesting, interesting. Well, that's great. So it's computer spy, you said?
Employment Spy.
Employment Spy. Sorry about that. Employmentspy.com. And of course, Paul's website is radiojingles24.com. And man, it's fantastic talking to you. This was great. I'm glad we finally got to do this. Third time's a charm. I'm almost positive this is going to make it. So, we'll keep doing the great work you do. And I've read some of the reviews. You go to his Facebook page, the Radio Jingles 24 Facebook page. There's a place for reviews, and it's like almost every week for the last year and a half, somebody has given him a big 5-star review. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 times in a week, and everybody seems to really be happy with the product he's churning out over there. And I've heard a lot of the stuff post production, and they're fantastic. So this is and like I said, if you like the voice at the beginning of my jingle, you go to his website, you can order the same voice. So, well, Paul, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
It's quite all right. It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, finally. And something else happens within you get another Italian speaker, you get some Spanish speakers. Let's talk again, and we'll get that promoted as well. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
all right, thanks, Paul. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. All right, bye.
Bye bye.